We'll start the webinar. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. Special thanks to Rakesh, Ananth, and Sushant, who are our panelists today. This initiative is a part of Nasscom IP Innovative Enablement Program, under which we are doing a lot of awareness sessions, shaping policy, supporting startups, innovators, and organizations in their innovation journey to understand the importance of IP, protect them, and make the best of the ecosystem. And In this, we are also doing this series of webinars sectorally. So we have already completed two webinars in the series on space tech and BFSI, and we will be doing more. Today, we are talking about auto tech and manufacturing. So we have with us Rakesh from Bosch, Anand from Renault Nissan, and Sushant from Invent IP, who will be giving a legal perspective. So firstly, this will be started by Rakesh. He's a global head of innovation for Bosch. And over to you, Rakesh. Please give a brief introduction about yourself and please take us through what you want to talk to us about what Bosch is doing in the innovation space and a little bit brief on where it stands in IP and what do you think is the importance of IP in the manufacturing sector. Over to you, Rakesh.
Thank you, Kavya. Good morning, everyone. I'm just starting the screen share. Kavya, you can just let me know.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, perfect. So thanks, Kavya, for the introduction. Just to reiterate, I'm from Bosch Software and Digital Solutions, which is one of the solution providing arm of Bosch. And we are from the software and the digital side of things, not just from the automotive component side, right? So we have the entire view of how Bosch does the innovation. We help Bosch build the innovation as well as for the external customers as well, just to keep it. And I head the global practice of digital transformation and sustainability. And since it's a growing field, you might hear industry 4.0, 5.0, industry X.0, etc. So we had to do a good amount of innovation to keep this practice really in the cutting edge so that we help the customers achieve the best possible results. So I'll walk through how Bosch is placed in the innovation aspect across the world, especially from the automotive as well as from the other business units of Bosch. And second, I'll also give a kind of use case on how we identify white space and how actively from the Innovation Council we nurture the ideas and we take that to series. When we say series, take that to the market, the mass market, right? So that's how we'll see this. And at the end, I will also show how a particular product that we have developed for the Bosch Cognitive Factory has come live for customers and Bosch usage. Right? So at a high level, this is the figures or the numbers that Bosch does on the innovation side. So a good amount of patents have been already filed by Bosch, and roughly it is 11 patents per day is what Bosch files, and roughly around 16 per working day, right? So that's the amount of focus on the innovation Bosch has. And from the other side of numbers, out of 90 billion euro in 2024, Bosch has invested 7.3, 7.4 billion euro in the R&D and innovation. So Bosch is known for the engineering excellence, innovation excellence, and we build a good amount of products much ahead of time so that we drive the market in that direction as well. So this shows at a high level how much we are focused on our own tagline, invented for life. Bosch comes with invented for life, and how we are actually making that come live with the innovative mindset that we have. And just to show from how exactly it works, right? So there's an innovation framework of Bosch. So there's something called search fields where Bosch resonates in the market. And in these search fields, which is the strategic framing part that you see on the screen, right? So we identify certain problem definitions which are, say, white space in the market or the blue ocean in the market. And we also get a good amount of customer feedback on understanding what they need to position themselves better. Bosch, predominantly being a business to business company, B2B company, we get good amount of knowledge from the customers on what they want to change, and also the B2B2C. Though we are not directly in some places dealing with the customers, we get to understand the market trends and customer what customer needs at later point in time. And in some cases, since we already have the products, we also know what would be the next version of the products, etc. So it's in a combination. So once we define the problem definition, starts our innovation gate. So there are two gates in Bosch. One is the innovation gate, and the second one is the quality gate. So we start the innovation gate, and it goes through a rigorous set of activities, starting from, say, concept validation with multiple customers, concept preparation for a minimum viable product to start with, and then we go to the minimum viable value from that particular concept that we are preparing, that comes during the concept validation. Will there be a paying customer when we launch this in series, etc., etc.? And in many cases, we also go into the co-development aspect along with the customers. So that's one topic which Sushant else also can cover, how to have a joint IP. That's something which is not so common, but a very complex topic between two entities, how to have a joint IP creation, etc. And once this is done, minimum viable product is there. There's also a good set of customers who have either invested in the idea jointly or separately. And we also have the sense that the market needs this. Then we get into incubating this as a large project, right? And we develop that product, be it a software product or a hardware product, and that ends the innovation journey when we have this as a proof of value, proof of concept, proof of revenue, whatever we call this. Once this ends, that's where we build a large team to scale and develop. And we might build this as a new venture inside Bosch, or we do a startup acceleration inside Bosch. The entrepreneurship journey starts there, and it goes to the mass market as a product or a software product in the quality gates side of things, right? So once the entire cybersecurity, the entire product is validated for multiple test functions, there are a good amount of lab tests that we do, etc. Then we launch this in series. And this is also being accelerated by some of the programs inside Bosch, which fortunately I was also being a part of, the Bosch Accelerator program. So maybe in the next slide, I can show that. So now I'm part of Bosch Innovation Council as well. But before that, maybe the time when I joined Bosch in 2017, Bosch calls for good amount of ideathons and hackathons across geographies. So we used to present our new set of ideas, where that's also being evaluated by the University of California, Berkeley, as a part of Bosch Accelerator program we had at IIT. So once that idea is being validated, maybe just to give an example, in 2017, 2018 batch, out of 500 ideas, 15 ideas got selected. So one among the ideas was in the team which I was representing. So from there, there's good amount of work which happens at the back end. One is on the technical product development from the innovation part, as well as guiding us through the lean startup methodology, which happens via University of California, Berkeley professors. So in 3 months, we have to have 100 plus face-to-face customer interviews to validate the idea. And once the concept is validated and we have a paying customer or a customer who is willing to pay, right? So then we start the next set of activities of POC, MVP, and then take it to the market. So this is a very structured program, and for a company that's there from 1886, it's very important to reinvent ourselves and go at a higher pace to match the market requirements, be it from the R&D and innovation side as well. So that's where we had to take some help of, say, University of California, Berkeley, etc., right, to guide us through this entire journey and bring the corporate entrepreneurship, which is also innovation plus entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship comes from the business model and business model innovations and how to look ourselves as a startup. But on the other side, what we actually represent is the innovation and R&D culture to bring the right products to the market. Okay, so now going to one of the innovation that we have done. So it's a Bosch cognitive factory. So just to give a very high level without going into too much details, we have identified good amount of problem statements from our customers as well as earlier in Bosch plants, because Bosch has more than 285 plants all across geographies. So these are some of the real problems that we have identified, both from the top line, which is revenue contributing problems, as well as the bottom line to reduce the cost. Right now that the mass customization comes into place, global uncertainties are coming into place. Some countries cannot export goods, or there's a good amount of tariff problem, etc. So it becomes highly relevant to invest on a cognitive factory type of scenario where all the data points, be it from manufacturing, be it from R&D, be it from supply chain, etc., comes into one common place where we run AML algorithms and GenAI algorithms to make a good amount of, say, productivity increase or cost decrease in the plant, right? So this is from the factory scenario. So having identified this as a high-level problem statement, going back in the previous slides, right? So this is identified as the problem statement. We had to do a bit of research on where should we really invest, right? Because there are many organizations in the world who has already invested, be it Siemens of the world, say Dassault Systems of the world, SAPs of the world, who has already invested in some part and shape into this particular cognitive factory type of program or a factory digitization or a digital manufacturing, etc. So we had to segregate into multiple C's. I mean, again, this is like management consulting. We used to do 5C, 6C, 7C, 4Ps of marketing, etc. So we already had certain layers of connect, collect, consolidate, and consume. But what we identified from the industry 5.2 or the industry X.0 standards, we need to really contextualize the information on a semantic stack type of scenario where the same can be used between factories, between functions, etc. So be it this can represent not just manufacturing or production as a function. This represents even the R&D, the supply chain type of function. So there is one gap identified here, and there's good amount of white space identified on the cognitive layers to run AML algorithms, etc. So once the contextualize happens in the right form and shape, then comes the cognitive layer, so that seamless integration can happen back to different functions in the entire manufacturing entity. And once the cognitive is being trained with the right data points, it can also help going to the control aspect. End of the day, business benefits are going to come to the customer only when we write back to the, say, machines or write back with the human in loop, actionable insights, etc. So just to keep this as the high level picture, obviously it goes into multi levels. So for presentation sake, we had to limit to certain factors. So having this as the problem statement and identifying this as kind of a white space in the market. I'm just going to show one example how we also validated this with one of the customers. So this is for one of the customers in India, aluminum manufacturing customer who is having a cold rolling mill. And this goes much closer to the process industry and the solving the downtime of the machines as well as scrappage of the machine, right? So that's the problem statement. So how we solved it is what I'm going to explain at a with certain level of granularity. But what it actually impacted the customer is that they were able to reduce the scrappage and downtime of the machines by more than 40%. So that's directly equivalent to increasing the productivity and reducing the cost for that particular operation. Cold rolling being one of the critical operations or the critical machines, which is a bottleneck machine in the entire process of aluminum manufacture. This became a really big exercise from the business benefit standpoint. So Having said this, how we did is by creating a asset model, be it both from by understanding the physics and chemistry, building an asset model on a 3D way, as well as to build the asset model from a programming way, right? So that's where we had to take multiple data points. Just to quote, it would be more than 500 parameters in 100 millisecond type of scenario. That many parameters, and then we had to create the AI use case, the remaining useful life, and prediction algorithms by defining multiple hypotheses, uh, understanding the structural elements of aluminum, understanding the physics chemistry of how the machine works, taking the product quality output and feeding it forward to the entire system, etc., etc. So doing good amount of AI ML, uh, uh, like from cleaning the data to creating the hypothesis to identifying, say, principal component analysis, what are the features that are contributing to failure, etc., etc. We were able to deploy the model to the platform. So once we do a test train type of setup with testing data of 20%, training data of 80%, we got a particular output. That output has to be validated with the real time. So we had to deploy the model to the from the platform to the plant, and we were also using the reinforcement learning to further increase the accuracy of the platform or the model, right? And we have given this with the proper dashboards and actionable insights for the customer. Again, the reason being it has solved only 40% of the problem is because of the machines that are getting old, as well as the standard operating procedure that needs to be much controlled. So maximum we could have gone till 50%. So we have solved, say, good amount of problems for them. So from the layers of how this works for the previous problem, right? So we can get the data, we rather get the data from multiple, say, machines at the bottom, or if it is R&D function, engineering artifacts from the bottom layers. And we actually bring domain-specific layers. That's where the hypothesis, etc., also gets formed. And we make this go into a data lake type of platform, and we build the AI applications on top. This is from the architecture view. And one of the key layers is on the semantic stack type of scenario, where all these data points should be contextualized so that AML algorithms can run from the on the top, and we can write back via all these. That's where you see a bidirectional arrow in most of the places. So I'll just show one video. This is the output of the complete exercise. You can take it from that direction. So this is on the factory energy part, especially on the boiler. So how we have made this model work is to show a 3D visualization of the same, along with the overlay of information on the real-time capture of data, what's happening in the boiler, etc. And this overlay also has a good amount of functions other than visualization. So this also has functions like you can try to expand it, understand what has happened from the energy signature or the output of this boiler. And there are also actions towards the right. You can turn on, turn off, and you can actually have multiple such actions. This is just a representation. So all the actionable insights also come into place. And the same platform we have developed in such a way that dashboarding, I mean, with the advent of GenAI, two things have happened. One, to reduce the time for visualization, dashboarding, etc., to take faster decisions. So this is one such example of how we use a widget-based customizable dashboard. Since we are taking the data to a semantic stack, it's very easy for us to add some data points, create a new chart, create a new graph, etc., on the go with the widget-based functionality. So that's something which you can see here. This again going back to the boiler case. How is the efficiency of it? What is the usage of multiple things? What is the coefficient of performance of the boiler, etc.? That you can actually make it on the go. So the next part, I'm just skipping this. The next part of this demonstration goes into the same problem statement that I was talking about, the cold rolling mill, how we are using AI and agentic AI to identify the health of the machine. So if we can just put a chat to this Gen AI engine, the prompt engine, I need to understand what has happened, what is the root cause, what is the state of health of the machine. It runs the algorithms at the back. The agentic AI starts working and it fetches the asset details, a particular asset which we are targeting. And it also understands from the PLM systems, the manufacturing systems, what has happened to that asset. And it creates the hypothesis on the go, and for this hypothesis, there are certain KLMs, knowledge language models that we already have built. So it takes from the KLMs and it starts modeling the data. So these are the entire set of steps that I was earlier showing how we do it. So now the agentic AI is able to do all these activities, and it creates good amount of templates, and then basis the hypothesis and basis the test train data, it goes into identifying, say, what are the major root causes of failure and what could be the health of the machine, etc. So I think this is where I would uh, stop my presentation. I think it's 20 minutes is done. Maybe Kavya, let me know, should I
Yes.
address questions or we can
Yeah,
take
we
it ahead?
can take a few questions. If there is any questions, I would request the participants to please add it in our chat box. Meanwhile, I would like to add a question myself also, Rakesh. In the beginning, you also mentioned that you are filing a lot of patents, almost 11 per day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, what's the approach that your company takes in between balancing this and your, other regular business also? What is the approach that you're taking?
That's a good question. That's where we had to form certain offshoots, right? The BAU that we call the business as usual is one set of activities where we need to maybe optimize, we need to scan the market and make much relevant products or upgrade the existing set of products that we have and the services that we have. We also have this offshoot of the Innovation Council, which nurtures good amount of ideas, and this has to happen at a higher speed. That's where we accelerate it. In some cases, we also involve the startups with a program called DNA, Discover, Nurture, and Align to Business Units. And the Bosch acceleration, accelerator type of program also accelerates this journey where our board members fund those ideas. So the example that I was talking about from my end as well, we started Symphony as one of the products inside Bosch, and we were funded by board of governors of Bosch. So the innovation is what keeps us alive, right? Bringing new products to the market, etc. So we have a proper split between both, and in some cases we accelerate the journey with say partners, for example Azure or Microsoft or Amazon type of partners also helps us innovate much better on their platform. So it could be partner led, it could be board driven, it could be uh, like programs like Bosch acceleration or startup driven or the customer driven innovation. So that's taken as a separate set of organization activities.
Again, on that, I would also like to hear from you because we have a few startups and innovators from academia who have joined us today. So, can you highlight a little bit about collaborations and how you work together with this ecosystem where innovations are coming in? And from a larger company like yours, how do you collaborate with the ecosystem?
Yeah. So we already have good amount of academic institution tie-ups. Just to quote IIT Madras, we have invested on the cyber security, and we have also started a journey with the sustainability, which is coming under my focus as well. So what we do is again, innovation has multiple layers, right? If for example, if I can quote the automotive journey, right? It started from ICE engines and then moved to EV. From EV, it's moving towards fuel cell, hydrogen-based, etc. Right? So we have a horizon of what to innovate. Is it the time to market that's important? Is it the rigor of research that is important to come up with new chemistries, especially in case of EV or other energy storage systems, right? So basis that and basis the merit of the institutions and professors who are actually helping the research community, we get to interact with them, and we also fund those research, At the end of the day, this is going to help both. In case of India, it's going to help Indian research move forward since we are spending less on
Yes.
R&D, as well as it helps Bosch as an organization get a good, say, kickstart on this exercise, accelerate the journey of innovation. That's how we integrate with academic institutions.
Thank you. Thank you once again, Rakesh, for your excellent discussion about the innovation that Bosch is doing. I will request you to please stay back while Anand and Sushant are also speaking.
Sure.
We might have some questions as well as some dots that we can connect from yours to the next. So thank you so much once again, Rakesh. Uh,
Yeah.
Anand, I will call you next for your presentation. Anand will be talking
Thank you.
about innovation in general, and I don't want to give the suspense off. I think it's very interesting topic. Over to you, Anant.
Okay.
Welcome to our session. Anant is a vice president at Renault Nissan RNTBCI. Over to you, Anant. Please give a brief about what you're going to talk, and then into the session.
Thank you, Kavya, and thanks for warm welcome. And I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So first of all, again, I take this opportunity, to convey my greetings and good morning to all of you. So myself, Anant, as Kavya introduced, I work for Renault Nissan Technology and Business Center India. So I had the innovations of the company as a chief innovation officer, as well the product R&D is with me. So I would say that it's my privilege to be a part of this Nasscom Knowledge webinar session today. So, I would like to, you can see the screen. I say it is innovation a blue ocean. So I will be a little bit touching upon unleashing value through innovation, what are IPs, and how you can able to capitalize. I will not go very deep, but I will give you a general sense of all these three parameters. But before I go there, I want all of you to swim into this, a blue ocean of innovation. I would like to talk about a little bit beginning an introduction on automotive journey. So you all know that automotive space is going rapid transformation, and the result of this is we don't know where are we tomorrow. That is what I call destination either unknown or unlimited. This is where we stand today. So I feel what is important is under this kind of situation, we are sailing in uncharted water. So I call it as blue water. So this is very important to understand what is the meaning of blue when I say, but the blue is just not the color, it is an opportunity. Yeah, blue is stands for opportunity. So if you look at it, the competition in the market is very severe. As you know very well, competition is very severe, especially in auto sectors, and we are facing a lot of headwinds, and sailing in these headwinds is not so easy. The only element which saves us is innovation. That is where I say the potential is innovation. That is immense. So we need to really find what is the value addition, how we can make customer experience better. So these elements will be capitalized as tomorrow's our intellectual property. So with this, I would like to take you through a little bit of elements on this area. So, if I talk about innovation journey, there are three elements which comes to my mind. One is innovation itself. Other one is intellectual property. That means it may be trademark, it may be patent, it may be copyright, etc. And the third piece of element is capitalization. For me, I always call this as a trinomial. This is a trinomial equation, and we should know how to manage this equation. Okay, so with this, let me take you through a little bit more informations on what is the meaning of red ocean and the blue ocean. So if you see that, red ocean and the blue ocean point of view. I call red ocean because it's a clear cutthroat competition. You can see in the picture, it is the competition in the existing marketplace. When I say existing marketplace, what happens in this situation is the opportunity for innovation is very, very limited, or more than limited. I would say it is incremental. Okay. This is what you put it as a red ocean. But when you come towards the other side, which is on the blue ocean, which is mainly on uncontested competition, means you are going to create the market space. You are going to create the value. You are going to make the customer experience better, and the competition here becomes irrelevant, because you are the creator, you are the one who is going to establish a new market space. So here innovation becomes very immense. So the potential of innovation in the blue ocean is very vast. So I give you some examples. If you take the companies like Tesla, I mean, just to say, they are the big giants today. They did not just make electric cars. The very popular product of Tesla is an electric car, but they didn't just make an electric car. They basically redefined the mobility, they redefine energy, and also they redefine the autonomy. That means, they made it more smarter, I would say more smarter, and they created the market space where many startups can able to think and do competition among themselves and bring new product into the market space to delight the customer. And again, you take several examples are there. I will quote two, three just to keep the rhythm. So you take SpaceX. If you all know SpaceX, basically they turned the launch cost on their head, and they opened the private access to the space, which is something, very, very different direction. It is not, I would say, a normal innovation. It is more of a breakthrough innovation in terms of business model, as well as in terms of bringing a new opportunity or new way of thinking process. And you take another example, if I talk about ARM or Qualcomm. So you say that they don't make us, I mean, basically they don't make consumer gadgets, we all know, right? But they make the heart of it, means they own the tech that powers them. This is being done through IP licensing. It's more of a way where the current era has to move from protecting towards even sharing. This is what the avenues are getting created. The more you start sharing the IP, then the lot of incubators will get originated. Then you will have the competition, and you will have a better marketplace. The ecosystem will become more vibrant. This is how the companies start thinking now. The big companies are multinational giants, and these companies, create the space of innovation. I always say they are the creators of breakthrough innovation. So let's look at why innovation needs reinvention. So I always say why innovation needs a reinvention. So maybe a difficult question to understand, what do you mean by a reinvention? So I say innovation is not just R&D upgrades, or I in my sense, if I say that if I want to do my vehicle, I'm coming from auto sector, so I say if I want to design my car, if I want to do a small evolution in my car, upgrades in my car, I do some refreshments. That is an innovation. But no, this is way, way beyond R&D. So, and then it's also about doing things. So I have my own definition. I call, uh, innovation is nothing but doing things differently than doing different things. This you don't need to do many different things, but you need to do things very differently. That becomes a perceived innovation. Yeah. So I want to give a small strategy, or I say formula of innovation. The innovation has three big elements inside. One is the creativity itself, which I call I. And the second one is the strategy, which defines the direction. Maybe this defines the field of play, which field I need, what is my field of play to keep my competitiveness or the product line. And the very important element is the M, which I call the purpose. That means meaning. Any innovation without these three elements is not, in my view, it says that it is not having any value addition. So the formula for innovation is ideas plus direction plus meaning. Yeah. So if you have these three, creativity, strategy, and purpose, that means your innovation idea is very powerful. Yeah. So this is something which always we need to think about. I give you some examples which may make you clear. Innovation also, there are many different types of innovation. You say frugal innovation. So I again say that innovation is nothing but there are two pieces in the innovation. One is the the structure, the other piece is the culture. Okay, it's a two face of a coin. Innovation is a two face of a coin which has a structure and a culture. So especially when you talk about the innovation, it is purely the mindset also. It is a mindset driven story. So you call innovation into three different types. I call it as a frugal innovation, where you talk about low cost, and it's about like incubating small ideas into an maybe an entrepreneur model. Probably if you look at some examples like the low cost incubator, which is very popular in the rural India, that is a frugal innovation actually. Then there are innovations which is process driven. You call it as a process innovations, where like a zero inventory model. You popularly it is called Zara. So this is zero inventory model is one of the process innovation which has been newly hunted, and it is becoming very popular, especially to manage the high inventory management activities or high inventory pipelines. And a business model innovation is nothing but you see today how Netflix is doing business. They moved away from all our traditional DVDs to the rental mode or to the streaming mode, right? So this is nothing but a kind of a business model innovation. So as I said very clearly, every innovation, whether it is a frugal innovation or is a process innovation or even it is a business model innovation, the three elements, again I insist, are very, very important. Is it should have creativity, it should have a strategy, and it should have a purpose. So then the innovation will be floating in a blue ocean. So let's look at a little bit on, I'm coming to the second part of my, I have two more slides to complete. So intellectual property. So I say intellectual property is innovation's silent partner. That's what I call always, so it's a silent partner of innovation. So, okay, fine. We have built something unique, right? So I have built something unique. This is an innovation. Then how do I protect it? When the protection word comes into picture, the IP comes into picture. Yeah, the IP will come only when there is a protection part coming as. That's what I call innovation without protection is almost like a donation. Okay, this is what I always say. So when you talk about intellectual property, you have very various type of intellectual properties like your patents, your trademarks, copyrights, and designs, which I spoke already. What IP does? IP does three powerful things. Powerful, things that one, it protects your idea from imitation. As you know, imitation today is very, very strong. Is copying is very, very strong, right? So it protects the imitation. Second, it builds the new market. That's what I said. It builds the very, very powerful new market or new market space with the breakthrough innovations. Third, it creates a lot of intangible assets. It will attract capitals, mergers, acquisition, partnerships. All these things will happen through intellectual property if you have a very strong IP rights. Yeah, if you have protected your innovation rather. So again, if you go back to the Qualcomm example, the licenses of their core patents, they opened it, yeah, to nearly every smartphone maker. You see, today all smartphone makers use Qualcomm, but it is patented by Qualcomm, right? But they are not making cell phones, but they have sharing their the license, right? So same way, the technology always should be remain. You say, you take another example is Dolby Stereo. You know very well Dolby, right? Their tech is in their device. All our devices has the Dolby, right? Most of us the devices, but they don't make devices. Dolby don't make any devices, but their tech is inside the devices, right? So this is how the IP management or IP sharing happens in the world. So as again I repeat, the other way of talking is innovation without an IP is like a castle built on sand. Yeah, a castle built on sand. So it's very important that intellectual property protection is very much required. Thereby, we can able to sail through the challenges which is ahead of us. The interesting second part, which I will say about the capitalizing IP beyond protection. So when you talk about capitalizing, of course we have many ideas, but how these ideas can be capitalized? How do you monetize this? The other word is business capitalization or monetization, right? So there are a couple of elements which you can see on the screen. It's called franchising, licensing, IP black lending, or these kind of securitization, these kind of elements. So I would like to say, many of us believe IP is just a legal tool. Yeah, but in reality, IP is way beyond legal tool. You say it is IP is legal tool plus a financial instrument. So we should utilize IP as both of it. Yeah. Then the business has to capitalize IP. Like in the previous slide, I explained about how Dolby is doing, the capitalizing their IP elements. And you take an example, franchising. You see our famous McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's, they do franchising their trademark and format. You go to any McDonald's, everything will look alike. But the McDonald's is why? Because their franchising is so strong. They shared their IP to other franchisees to make sure the brand remains same. Then same way, you say you look at the IP backed funding. It also protects the your patents. But now the patents also can be used as a security for availing the loans. So this is another interesting element, especially for startup when you are coming up with the new innovative ideas. Then valuation, if you say IP often drives the premium valuation. Valuation is one of the element. I would say even in India we are weak. So we need to really work on these elements. There is a scope to improvement. I'm not saying we are zero, but there is a scope to improvement. So I would say almost 80% of the enterprise value in Fortune 500 companies is intangible, because this is mainly because of the IP. So if I want to little bit dwell on the India's IP ecosystem, challenges or opportunities, if you look at it, IP ranks high in innovation potential, but of course it needs to improve, which I said to you few minutes before. How it can be done? There are two things. There are three elements which we need to focus. One, the awareness among ourselves on the IP is needs to be improved. Yeah, it has to be improved for sure. Then financing, IP financing, and IP enforcement. These three are the very strong elements which India as an ecosystem, IP ecosystem, needs to focus for our future. Okay, so we have talents, we have tech guys, we have I would say tenacity, but we need to focus on, as I said, awareness, financing, and enforcement. So I would recommend that for academia. If you ask me what's your recommendation to academia, for academia, my recommendation is encourage IP education in engineering, science, MBA, various programs. And you have to do this foster of IP financing models as a case study in their, the engineering or in their various discipline graduation programs, so that before they come out as entrepreneurs or before they come to their professional journey, they are very well aware about IP and IP rights. Yeah, if this is very clear, then it becomes very easy. The another element what the academia can think through is they have to create IP clusters. And maybe, it's kind of a public and private patenting pools. And they should have a patent attorney in the campus. I mean, maybe appointed by the university itself, because I visited many universities. They have, tons of patents. But yeah, still they struggle in terms of creating the awareness or making it more powerful. So in that way, um, this is not just about a legal right, it is also about economic rights as well. So in that way, these two or three my suggestions for academia to take care, so that we know how to capitalize IPM. So what is the framework? If you ask me what's up for future, so I put it in 4 steps. To monetize, you have 4 steps: ideate, innovate, protect, and scale up. Yeah. So sorry, scale up. So with this, I would like to say that India is rising fast in the global innovation index. We are climbing the ladder very fast, and it's very very important for all of us to think through that what we should do uh, as a country. Yeah. So I would suggest that if we want to complete our blue ocean journey, so what is that? We should stop competing in crowded waters. That's what I'm saying. That means we need to be a niche country. We need to be professionals in niche area. We need to create the breakthroughs, novelties, and the value creation in the niche area as well. And we create the uncontested values, and we need to protect it. Whatever we create, you protect it, and then we have to turn the knowledge into capital. The last element is very important. Turning the knowledge into capital is very important to protect IPs as well as the innovations. This is where I stop talk about innovation as a blue ocean. Thank you very much, Kavya, and thanks for all of you to listen to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anand. That was a very insightful presentation. I quickly want to get into a couple of questions. First
Yeah,
is,
please.
how do you balance between open innovation and IP protection, especially when there's a lot of collaborations going on in the ecosystem?
Okay. So simple answer for me. See, I run many open innovation challenge. I run at least 2 cohort in a year. Okay. So when we do that, of course, there will be a lot of startups pitching into the open innovation. Then the final top 4 or top 5, when we chose the with various, the parameters or the DA matrix I call, the chosen startups, one element is I'm going to fund them a grant fund for creating the POC, and that POC will be co-shared. That means we have to work on co-creation model. That means the IP should be like, we should work on like 50-50 or 40-60. Those kind of IP rights sharing model is the best way when we handle the open innovation.
That's an amazing solution. Tying this up with our previous discussion when we met a few days back, uh,
Yeah.
we did talk about lot of number of patents are being filed, but the
Mm.
quality is not as high as we see in other countries. So can you give some programs or approaches to identify if an idea is worth filing for a patent, and how to generate a better idea or develop the idea into making it patent worthy?
See, I tell you what I do. Okay, maybe that may work for most of the people. First is creating ideas. You have many elements. The first idea could be, I would say that the for me, I do a program called, every problem should run into a value creation. That is means you have to find an opportunity to convert every problem into a patent. So I run a program called, one problem, one patent. Okay, so this is one of the idea where we generate a lot of patents based on the failures or based on the problems we face, and the solution of that could be patented. Yeah, this is one element which will accelerate the number of patents which we are talking. And as I said, if you look at the statistics says in India, per day, it's around 10,000 patents being filed. Whereas if you go to, sorry, around 250 being filed. Whereas if you go to the other countries or overseas globally, around 10,000 patents are filed per year. This is just research data which I am talking. So when you look at it, this you see the gap. So we are at 250, and the people outside India are close to 10,000 plus. So in this kind of situation, we have to find all the opportunities. People who are working on project. One is I talked about problem. The second one is the people who are working on project. So every project will have a milestone, right? So in each milestone, you need to stop, pause there, and try to find what went wrong in the milestone. And those elements also are potential opportunities to convert it into pattern. Okay, so this is the second input for the patent. The third line is obviously yes, the breakthrough ideas, or which comes from ideation program like Innothon, Hackathon, or whatever we call our open innovation channel. So and co-creation program with our partners. So there are 4 5 channels like this to pump into the innovation reservoir. But the interesting fact is whether all innovations can be converted into patent. My personal experience and answer is no. Not that all innovations can be patented. Some can be patented. Some, yes, stay there as is. So, as I said, we need to know how to tweak it to make it a novelty. Okay, so coming back to the quality, 3 things has to happen in everywhere. One, I again repeat, the quality of the content of your innovative idea has to be more pragmatic and has to be more industrial oriented element. Thereby you can increase the pace of patents. For example, let's say we are developing some new project. If you are orienting your patents towards that, because it is in the industrialization mode, the filing of patent will become more easy because you have a POC in your hand. You can always prove and do it. So these kind of small adjustments we need to improve the quality of the patent promotion activity. I hope I answered you, Kavya.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Anant. Specifically, just to put it in, just we will have to identify a business outcome from uh, uh, the innovation.
Yeah.
Thereby, the idea becomes patent worthy. So,
Yes.
thank you once again, Anant, for the excellent presentation. Um, we will now go to the next and the last segment of this presentation. I saw Sushant making a few notes while the presentation was going on. Anand, if I may ask you to stop sharing so that Sushant can
Yeah, yeah, I am doing
share
it. Yeah,
his.
yeah.
Yes. So, Sushant, over to you. Sushant is from Invent IP. He's a legal expert and he has experience from the legal side of things. He has been working on IP consulting and technology consulting for over 12 years. So I hope you'll be able to connect some of these dots, like we also discussed in the beginning. You'll also be talking a little bit about innovation, such as what Bosch was talking about. So, over to you, Sushant.
Sure, thanks, Kavya. And I would like to thank Rakesh and Anant for setting up the stage and giving a background of how Bosch or Renault or anyone should innovate in the direction of Industry 5.0. So I have shared my screen. Please confirm if it is visible
Yes,
at your end.
yes, we can see.
So can you see the dual screens or the one screen?
I'm able to see your dual screen.
Dual screen.
I
Just
think
let
in
me.
display settings you should be able to. Yeah. Yes.
All
Now
right.
we can see the screen. Yeah.
So I believe Now you can see everything. All right. So before I start my presentation or giving a deeper dive into what I have to talk, I would like to take this opportunity to highlight one thing. I'm assuming a lot of audience that we have today are from academia, university, small medium entities, startups, MSME, from everywhere. And giving the pace at which the innovation is happening, like you are seeing AI, you are seeing IoT, you are seeing digital twins, a lot of technical advancements going into various space. Automobile industry is also like seeing all these transformations. So in this era of industry 5.0, my objective or my idea for this presentation would be to empower you with certain things that can help you innovate the ideas that you have, protect the ideas in form of intellectual property, and transform these ideas into business opportunity or monetizations that Anand talked about. Like every idea should have an objective of getting some benefits at the end. So going forward, let's go through these aspects one by one. So first is, how should we visualize industry 5.0? You are already seeing AI related innovations. You are seeing IoT related innovations. You are seeing blockchain, digital twin, a lot of GPT models being evolving, and every these kind of thing. What happened is people are thinking that a lot of workforce would lose job. So till industry 4.0, from industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, the objective of the innovators have been towards automation, increasing efficiency, and in this journey the human part got ignored. So what industry 5.0 is trying to focus is to foster innovations in the direction where the AI or technologies are assisting human rather than replacing human. This is first pillar of industry 5.0. Second pillar is, I would say, the sustainability. Nowadays, everywhere you see plastics, a lot of things end up in ocean or garbage fills. Many things are appearing in our body like microplastics, that sort of thing. So going forward, the development should address sustainability aspect. And thirdly, we need to develop systems that are resilient. For example, recent pandemic, for almost 2 years, supply chain in the industry and many other things were affected during the COVID lockdown seasons. To make sure our factories or our system work in these scenarios, we have to utilize data and trends to identify what sort of innovations we can make to build a resilient system of innovations. So going forward, I would say industry 5.0 is a paradigm shift where innovation still industry 4.0 focused towards automating process. Industry 5.0 is focused towards assisting humans by AI or robots. People call it cobots nowadays. A lot of companies are using. Till industry 4.0, people focused on operational efficiency, like make process faster or cost efficient. However, in industry 5.0, companies or innovations will foster towards improving efficiency in energy or resources, making it more sustainable. 4.0 focused on mass production. You can print a lot of things via 3D printing quickly, but industry 5.0 would be focusing on mass customizations. For example, everyone knows like no two Rolls Royce are same. And I believe if I ask you a question, who would like to have a car customized like Rolls Royce, like their seats are of different color, different material can be used, different type of color themes you can choose, every that sort of thing. But what's restricting, it's the cost. Because when you go into customization, you have to add human touch, or you have to configure each and every item, and it increases cost. But imagine if there are innovations in which you can provide inputs while selecting a car. I want this kind of material, I want this kind of color, and in real time those informations are being transmitted into the factory, and while your car is being manufactured, these kind of customizations can be done in real time. So basically everyone would be having a car customized like Rolls Royce without any price. So this is an idea through which industry 5.0 is being envisioned. So going forward, I would tell you, with these transformations, what kind of technologies you can expect in future. Or more importantly, I want you to fuel up with small ideas on hotspots where you can innovate in future. So for the peoples who are thinking of filing patents or innovating or doing R&D, this becomes a crucial step, like to identify where to file patents. You all must be having ideas, but it needs some refinement so that it can channelized towards industry 5.0. All right. So in first section of the PPT, I would be covering some technologies, and in second portion of the PPT, I would be covering some IP related issues or challenges. So let me go to industry 5.0 and what kind of innovation is happening in this direction. So as I talked, first pillar is human centric. So first, the innovation should be people centric manufacturing rather replacing the human. We need to empower our workforce. So innovations that foster how we can make our existing workforce, that are basically blue collar jobs, into a job where they can operate autonomous machines. For example, uh, a robot, basically a construction robot, maybe they can operate. We need to have innovations where human are assisting AI in taking better decisions. We need to have innovations where our workforce needs to be reskilled and upskilled. These seems to be like theoretical things, but companies or a lot of startups or innovations is already happening in this direction. So let me give you some examples of these human centric innovations by few companies so that you would be able to relate. So if I talk about people centric manufacturing, companies are nowadays moving away from robotic manufacturing to cobots based manufacturing. What are cobots? Cobots are basically collaborative robots that work alongside humans. Volkswagen has implemented collaborative robots at their Wolfworks plant. BMW is using AI driven cobots in their workstation alongside humans. Toyota has developed a human support robot that can assist older people. So, for example, people who are like above 50, they can also go to work and support in the innovation. So rather than replacing human, these type of innovations are assisting human. For example, you might have heard recently, like Tesla mentioned, like too much automation as Tesla factories is basically degrading their outcome. They have underestimated the power of human. So in the era where we are feeling that AI would replace us, I think there are still opportunities where AI or similar kind of technologies can be made or tailored to have people centric approach, and these in this direction. Empowered workforce, they have using analytics 20% energy reduction and CO2 reduction in their factories by just implementing worker centric smart automations. They are using digital twins for optimizing their processes. They are having skillings program that promotes capability among human or their employees. So these are certain type of innovations that you can think of while adopting human centric approach towards industry 5.0. If I talk about sustainability, you can people are using greener materials, recycled materials, greener powertrains like low CO2 emission engine, or completely transforming into electric vehicles. Manufacturing processes are being uh, going into sustainable direction, where companies are utilizing greener source of energy. For example, green hydrogen is being used to power up a plant. Circular economy integration is another thing that people are thinking, like instead of throwing away a vehicle, let's recycle it. In India also, you might have heard in recent times that recycling policies are coming into picture, vehicle scrapping policies are coming into picture. So if you tailor your innovations or R&D strategies in these type of topics, it's highly likely that in going forward, government would also come towards fostering development into 5.0 innovations, and these are the areas that will flourish in the future. So you will have to keep a tap on what kind of innovations happening in this space so that you can derive your innovations similarly. For example, can you imagine materials made of sugar cane or hemp or recycled polymers are being used in seating arrangements? This is a startup. This company Autonium that I have mentioned, it was a startup, and they are so pioneer that they have also filed patent in the direction of using recycled polymers. BASF, a chemical company, is developing post-consumer plastic that can be used in making mud flaps or bumpers of the vehicle. For example, certain components do not require the properties that can be delivered through virgin materials. You can use a little bit degraded materials also, which is the case of post consumer plastics where the quality deteriorate. So if you are using such kind of materials in bumper or mud flaps, that can be a very good thing. So if you come up with a certain solution that, hey, I have developed a system or a process in which I can utilize the plastics waste from human household waste and use it to make certain components of automobile or any other industry, boom, you are on the right direction. Mercedes have used these kind of materials in their like Maybach series of cars. Tata Motors is using recycled materials from nuts like coconuts and similar kind of nuts. So what I'm trying to tell you is giving you certain directions in this regard. Greener powertrains. You have seen almost all companies have launched some sort of electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles in their portfolio. Tesla, they did a game changer. They reinvented the car industry completely. Many of my you might be thinking that Tesla is only into manufacturing cars, but they have developed massive infrastructure to manufacture batteries. Toyota is a pioneer who is developing a different side of engines that are more greener. Instead of electric, they are using hybrid and hydrogen fuel cells. So you might have heard about Toyota Prius and similar kind of model that Toyota have launched. Manufacturing practices, like I've told, Bosch has reduced CO2 production. Companies are using solar panels. Renault has a refactory projects that does recycling and of components. There are a lot of patents being filed on life cycle evaluation. So this I can tell you from the legal angle, because I am coming from a company who is into patent filings and all those kind of things. So we have access to information of what kind of patents are being filed. So many of the information that you are seeing in my presentation are basically result of the analysis of what kind of patents are being filed. Life cycle evaluation is one thing. Like how do you calculate how much uh, return a material would provide if it is recycled? Or on demand manufacturing, like instead of producing hundreds of cars, we would produce cars just on the base of how much orders we are getting. Right now it's not happening. There is a lot of waiting time. You might know, like a lot of cars in Indian market market have waiting time. Why? Because they do not understand this concept of on demand manufacturing. They are not utilizing their resources properly. Resilient, this is the third pillar that I talked. Resilient means you need to have a system where you are unaffected by small or major challenges that are unforeseen circumstances, for example pandemic or wars. So you have to make your supply chain robust. You have to make modular designs so that instead of having like 10 models of a car, you just have one model and people can configure it. These kind of developments would go into sustainability direction. For example, MG recently introduced a car in which you can have battery as a service sort of thing. Like you get a car and you don't buy a battery, rather you lease a battery for certain amount, for example 10 rupees per kilometer sort of thing. So here if a person wants to have a car only for 2 years, he can think of going forward on this EV as a service or battery as a service model. So business model flexibility, like Anant was mentioning, Netflix, it completely reinvented the way entertainment industry was flourishing. Instead of CD DVDs, everything went online. So might be a case, if this kind of innovation happens, you will see no fuel stations or uh, only service stations like EV as a service company. Risk management, when you have access to technologies like AI, IoT, you can delve deeper into data and identify what can be possible future failures. Predictive maintenance can come into plan. You can simulate crises that can be there in the future depending upon pandemic data or wartime data. So all these kind of things are basically fueling the area of industry 5.0. So these are just a few. In I have also got like gathered 20 more areas where you can invent. Perhaps if you can take a screenshot, you can have it at the later point of time, or if I can share this presentation to Kavya and if she can present share it with you guys, so you can have this information, like what are the areas where you can innovate. So I hope this is my first section of the presentation where I tried to highlight what the future would look like, how companies or recent trends are shaping industry 5.0, and most importantly, what is the takeaway on takeaway with respect to where the new innovators, SMEs, startups, or big companies can innovate. Now I'll move a little bit towards IP side of things. If you look closely at this chart or this data, you won't find anything new. Digital twins already there. LLMs, NLP, human machine interface. A lot of patents already being filed. Automotive recycling. Companies are doing automotive recycling. Software defined vehicles, yes, there are vehicles in which you can change modes from sports mode, eco mode, or city mode using just softwares. So what I'm trying to tell you is, you do not have to invent new things, or you do not need a breakthrough innovation to go into industry 5.0. You just have to understand the thought process change, or basically which I'm telling is the paradigm shift on going towards sustainable, human centric, and resilient system in manufacturing space. Now most of the things that we see over here, apart from the sustainable things, involve high tech innovations: software, IoT, sensors, blockchain, big data analytics. These all are complex technologies. And when you are going to develop IP or innovations or ideas in this direction, it's not going to be easy. So let's understand certain pitfalls in the IP when we move to industry 5.0 era. So I have identified 6 pitfalls right now. There can be more, but for the sake of time, let's just focus on these pitfalls. For example, AI generated invention dilemmas. Right now, there is no concrete law on who will own a patent that has been generated by AI. So, for example, if you are using some AI based system like ChatGPT to identify ideas on which you can file, will that idea would be of yours or of an AI system? Or if a company has employed an AI software to just generate tens of hundreds of ideas, who would be the owner of those inventors? Right now, the rules are like not clear, and AI created innovations might come into legal vacuum. They do not have any authority. So basically, we need to have certain rules and regulations how to deal with this. Another is co-invention. For example, if a startup and a university, or if a company and university are developing the IP or technology, they can have shared IP access or IP royalty. But what if one of the inventor is an AI? So there is a blur or unclear situation in terms of IP laws. The laws are right now not that mature, or the laws are not moving as fast as the technology is moving. Data security is another thing. All the innovations that I talked about, they deal with IoT. Information is stored at cloud. What happens if the data got leaked? Some of the data can be IP related things also. Another thing comes into picture: what to patent and what to keep trade secret. For example, software patents cannot be patented in India. So the patents or trends generated by software, would it be become patent or would it be trade secret? Company needs to decide what sort of patenting or what sort of IP protection they need. Layered tech. So a component in electric vehicle may have certain components from Qualcomm, certain components from Bosch, and all things getting implemented in a car that is being manufactured by Renault and Nissan. So if you are developing a technology where multiple entities are involved, so there can be licensing issues. You developed a technology which spans across 3 equipments and 3 companies are there. How would you protect these, or how would you sue those companies if they are infringing on you? Complex patent procedures. Patents are not very simple documents. They require deep knowledge. If you go on writing your own patent, you will have a disastrous draft. You need law firms or a IP attorney, as Anant mentioned, in the process of invention. IP's laws are different across different countries. US allows software patent if they have some machine implementing those software patents. Europe had something else. India had some else law. It doesn't allow. Now, while doing invention, you will not think of this aspect, that I need to protect in Europe also, US also, and India also. So should I go with inventing 3 inventions? So these kind of things will come into picture when you go into IP side of innovation. Some things that I talked about are genuine problem, like laws and that sort of thing are not there. For many of things are developing. For example, for layered tech, patent pools are developing. Companies are collaborating and they are making a patent pool where they share their IP. And if you have to license the IP, you can go to that patent pool instead of going to multiple entities. So for some of the challenges, there are solutions. For some of the challenges, government or the workforce or the complete ecosystem needs to go in the direction of some sort of redefinement. Particularly about India, there are certain gaps. IP laws for AI and co-generated patents are not there. Clarity on software patent needs to be improved. Trade secret laws needs to be enforced more rigorously. Like employees should have uh, contracts that they are not sharing confidential data with outside firm. As Anant mentioned, a lot of patents originating are of lower quality. There needs to be some awareness among the universities, startups, or everyone in India to file more patents, and importantly, quality patents. I'll just take a couple of more minutes to explain about how a patenting process works. So I have basically elaborated the trinomial equation of Anant into 8 different stages. So first stage is you have an idea. What you do, if you have an idea, you go on directly filing a patent. So I have a lot of friends in my past 12 years of careers. A lot of friends have came to me that Sushant, you work in IP industry. I have an idea and I want to get it patented. So basically, you are skipping a lot of things in between. From an IP point of view, I can say that if you have an idea, do a patent search. You can go to Google patent, search what kind of innovations or similar kind of innovations you have. Nowadays, a lot of AI based uh, technologies are also being there, or AI based systems are also there who can do patent searching for you, where you can write your invention and see if similar kind of invention is there or not. If similar kind of invention is there, do some modification, do some R&D, develop a patentable idea first, build a prototype. This will ensure that you have a working model, you have codes working, you have certain sort of things working, so that you can show it to investors to get money. Basically, in the entire patenting process, you would need help from various entities. Once you build a prototype, chances are there if you file a patent, you will having a greater monetization value. Patent prosecution will happen where you will get to know about how patents are filed. And once the patent is granted, do not stop on that point of time. Either you have to monetize that thing. You have devoted your hard hours, hard effort into filing that patent or generating those ideas. You need to sell that patent, or you need to license it out, or you yourself go into market, make a product out of your invention and make revenue. So basically, from ideation to monetization, this is the complete stage. I can tell you, if you are in university, till this point of time, or in entire cycle, the university can help. If you are in a company, you need to hire a patent attorney or some sort of IP expert to help you with patent searching, patent drafting, and granting of patent. If you are at prototyping stage, you need to have investors to have invest in you, and so that you can generate a working model. So basically, in the entire patenting process, you need help from someone outsider. You cannot, you it will be very difficult to do it alone. And when you are going into patent, three things that should be noted. Your invention should be novel. That means it should not be like reinventing the wheel. Someone developed seat belts for car. You should not going to develop seat belts again. You should develop novel things, like the blue ocean strategies talked by Anant. Non-obvious things. Non-obvious means if there are two innovations, someone cannot figure out, okay, if we combine these two innovations, a new innovation can be made. These kind of things are obvious. For the sake of time, I'll keep it short. You can go on Google and try to identify what three criteria are there for getting a patent patented. Industry application. Suppose you made a torch that works on solar power. Will it be patented? No. Solar is in morning. In daylight, you'll getting sunlight. Would you be using a torch in daylight? No. it has no industry application, that is not patentable. So you need to understand what all things are patentable, and these things changes jurisdiction to jurisdiction, country to countries. So all right, that would be all. I'll take a pause, and thanks for being a good audience.
Thank you,
Any
Sushant.
questions?
There is a question in the question answer box. If you can just check, it's addressed to you. There are three questions. So
Let me check.
if you can
Yeah,
open it, it'll be easier.
yeah, I can see it. My question to Mr. Sun: as AI models and solutions are now involved in product design and manufacturing, how is IP rights balanced between a AI solution provider and a manufacturer? So, to be honest, right now there are no concrete laws. European jurisdiction EU have started developing laws. They are doing brainstorming like how we should go in this direction. So let me tell you, if you go on Google patent and search on industry 5.0, you will not find patents. Why? Because this is this has just started happening now. This paradigm shift from 4.0 to 5.0 is shifting, is happening now, and things are still in development phase. So right now there are no concrete things like how these IP rights can be managed. What is the current legal framework in India that protects AI solution providers? No framework, sorry, we do not have right now. And unfortunately, I would say that Indian IP system needs to go on a boost mode. By seeing the speed of advancements of AI and these kind of things, Indian IP system needs to cope up with this, the speed of technologies. Do you have any suggestions on AI solution providers like us to opt for best practices models to be followed in IPR arrangements domestically as well as globally? Best practices, or can you just elaborate a bit on best practices and models, like what sort of answer are you expecting on this?
I, uh, yeah, if you're online, I would request you to please. She's replied saying IP clauses. Are there any
IP
IP
clause?
clauses that will
No,
support?
unfortunately, IP laws are not there. So a simple, I think, some section in Indian patent laws says that the inventor needs to be a human. Apart from human, no one can have the rights of IP ownership. So again, this is a gray area. In very nascent stages, things are developing. Keep a tap on these kind of things, and surely you'll get the answers. If you want to hear my opinions, I would say that AI based system should not be allowed to own IP.
I don't think she's asking if AI-based solution can own an IP. They
All
are
right.
an IP. They are an AI solution provider.
Mm-hmm.
So, from the perspective of their solutions, she's asking. So, the inventor, of course, will be somebody, some technology expert from their organization.
Mm-hmm.
But she's asking for what kind of best practices. Maybe you can suggest what kind of laws can support them, or if there are any do's and don'ts that can be followed for an AI forward organization for IPR.
So I think one thing, like since the laws are currently weak, but going forward, few things that government would impose, or rules and regulatory things, are first thing, stronger laws on data security. So once data security laws gets into like picture, companies would need to make framework so that the data that they are generating or the data that they are using for training their systems, those kind of data are free from these data privacy or this data security issues. That's one way I think you can strategize being a AI based solution provider.
Kavya, can I share something?
Yes, please. Anand.
just a thought, just a thought process. There are two ways of, I would say, IP thinking process, especially when you talk about AI. So what I feel is, one is you can call it as a sponsor-led IP. Okay. The other one is like a self IP. As Sushant was saying, since there is no clear guideline or rule being framed, so what can be done? This is what I am trying to do. So what can be done is, if there is a inventor who is having a, let's say, GenAI solution, and I wanted to utilize that into my domain or main technology, I wanted to integrate. If that is the situation, the IP can be shared between two. For example, 50-50, for example, 40-60, whatever, a mutual basis, and it will be a co-creation. It's a co-creation IP, and the sponsorship will be led by the, for example, if I am sponsoring that idea, so then it is a sponsor-led IP with the IP right sharing. I think that can be done at this minute, is what I feel.
Definitely, Anand. That's a
Yeah,
very, yeah, good point. Like sharing of IP rights among these
yeah,
systems can be one
yeah.
thing.
Uh, I
All
think there
right.
are no other questions. Um, I will just drop my email in case anybody doesn't have. Please feel free to reach me. I can connect you with all of them. Also I will request Sushant to share your presentation as you offer. In case somebody reaches out to me, I will share the presentation, and in case of any queries, I'll reconnect them back to you, Anant or Rakesh. Uh, so yes, I have your email, Chitra. I will send you the
Yeah.
presentation once I receive from Sushant. So thank you once again, Anand, Sushant, and Rakesh had a hard stop at 12:30, so he had to drop. Thank you once again for this was a very brilliant discussion. We deep dive into not only technology, IP, and a lot of good to see Sushant sharing some pitfalls also that we get into, especially with the legal scenario and IP. And as an IP organization, Sushant, I would hope that in some other discussion we can also discuss on what kind of thoughts that you're sharing with legal representatives, legal forums, communities to develop this law that can protect our innovations better. Uh, so thank you again, once again, to everybody who has joined us today and spent time close to 1.5 hours with us, and the speakers. Thank you once again. We'll share these details with you all shortly. Thank you once again, and we'll meet you in the next session on August 5th. We'll have a healthcare related session. See you all.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thanks
you
for
all.
being a nice audience. And thanks, Kavya and Nasscom, for organizing this thing. Awareness needs to be ramped up in India. And
Sure.
kudos to
Yes,
Kavya. Please,
absolutely.
please flourish these things. Make it at large scale. Maybe I would like to see, instead of 50 audience, 500 audience. I would love to spread this awareness.
Absolutely, Sushant. Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Kavya. Thanks for the
Thank
time.
Thanks. Have a nice day. Bye bye.